Hey guys, how's it going? It's Kai here with another Garden Tales video, and in today's video I want to talk about the shop here. And there's a lot of things that I do either every day, week, or month here in Guardian Tales that I think really starts to add up and is going to get you a lot of good rewards. So the first thing, and I'm just going to go through all of these particular things, and there's something to really keep in mind about it. I'll tell you the things I don't buy and the things I do want to buy every single time I see them in the shop. So before we get in this video, if you can get a like on this video, that'd be awesome. Also, subscribe to the channel for more Guardian Tales content. So with that out of the way, let's talk about what I look for in each of these shops here. Is going to be, I'll loop back to the actual whale shop here at the end and talk about what I actually look for, because in this game, there's really not many things you can actually buy that are reasonable. It's either super whale things or actual kind of smaller transactions that really start to add up over time if you buy them, but there's really the only things that are actually worth buying here. Okay, so the first thing in here, when it comes to this guy, all this stuff is more whale shop currency. You get these 2,000 gold every single day, which is literally nothing here in Guardian Tales. But when it comes to the stamina, I always buy the first two here because you get 50 stamina for 100 and then another 50 stamina for 150. And my goal is to get a lot of these characters fully 5-star in the evolution dungeon. So I've been using that I've been using this stamina for that and trying to, currently I'm leveling up Veronica. I'm trying to get her 5-star. So that's what I purchase here. And then when it comes to this hero growth, for 15k gold, you get to buy 3 legendary awakening stones. This is a snap buy. There's no question about it. Absolutely buy this. This is such a rare currency for your heroes. The main thing that these are for in the awakening section, when it comes to party buffs, a lot of times is going to be associated with these legendary awakening stones. And when the character's max limit broken or just limit breaking in general, those nodes in the middle take 12 legendary awakening stones for like 3% attack, defense, or HP. And then one takes 18 at the very end, that last node. So you need like 90 of these per character, only if you're going to absolutely max that character out. I just use for the most part on these characters, what I do is I just go for the major points and skip a lot of them. So the ones I'll go for is the party buffs, and if there's any major attack stat, if it's an attack hero, I'll go for that. If it's a character like Future Princess, I just completely max them out because the character's so good. But see these ones here, it's 12 awakening stones for only 3% HP. I just skip that. A lot of these heroes I just skip that for. Maybe I can go back around, but I don't see the need to spend all those resources on just, like what, 3% HP, 3% defense, stuff like that. It's just because it's such an investment. You get very little of these resources in game. But depending on how good the hero is, like for example, Future Princess, like I was saying, I just went all in and completely maxed her. So then let's go back to the shop here. And so that's for hero growth here. I absolutely don't buy these star pieces. I don't like to spend any hero crystals for getting evolutionary stones. I think the best way is by far just farming it. Here in the story, while you still have star pieces to get from the story, absolutely use these on whichever unique hero type you're actually farming. So like, let's say you're farming Future Knight, spam all of these star pieces on this right here and try to get as many of these evolution stones before you actually farm them all. Just try to get rid of that currency completely and get this character as far as possible, and then farm the rest of it. This is by far the best way to spend these star pieces, but it's not worth it to ever buy star pieces for this. So definitely keep that in mind. And now when it comes to the equipment here, I think a lot of these are actually worth it. I see for this stuff right here, I guess you can purchase this if you need the knowledge. I think it's probably worth it if you haven't already pulled these yet here in your actual book. But the things that I've seen here that are massively expensive, and this is not for everyone, eventually you might consider doing this depending on which heroes you pull, specifically like Ogma or Future Princess. But the Advanced Shield and then the Smile Shield and Lionheart Shield are all 3 things that I've seen people get, whereas these weapons are very niche and probably not worth the asking price here, because this is a ton of resources. It takes so much farming to ever even get close to this. So be very careful if you're going to buy this. I would say Advanced Shield and Lionheart Shield are by far the most popular here, but that's about it. Also, Strengthening Hammer, that's a snap buy. It's really cheap and you should just buy it every day. It comes through. It's a daily limit there. When it comes to the costume shop, I spend a lot of the crystals I get because I'm also spending money, like actual real money in this game. And so ideally what I'm doing personally, just full disclosure, is when it comes to these costumes, I think the first thing I want to talk about is eventually you're going to cap out, you get a boost to your HP here. We go here to costumes, you get a boost where you get 10% HP after, and this is the cap after 100 costumes. Okay. So to maximize the value of your costumes, you're going to eventually get 100 of them. But then you're also wanting to look at the collection, because the only costumes that are worth it, if you're only purely going for efficiency, is you need, eventually you're going to need 100 costumes to get that 10% HP boost, and you'll slowly ramp up to 10%. But there's costumes here that as you put them in a piece, you're going to be getting even more stats. Whereas, for example, if I bought all of these, 5% defense. If I bought all of these, you get 5% attack. Stuff like that. The ones I prioritize are usually the ones with attack on them, if I can get them. And I started to really care about this recently, but ideally, you can't really go wrong with these. You know, I think for costumes, it's one of those things where you want to just, you know, they're supposed to be fun. And I really like that they limit it to where it's only 10% HP. So eventually, yes, people that spend money are going to have an advantage. But in the grand scheme of things, eventually it will even out. And everyone that has really invested in costumes will all have that 10% HP boost. But I think targeting the ones that are actually in these collection bonuses are really important, because this is how you're going to get a ton of stats here. Like, look at how many potential stats you can get if you really only targeted just the collection bonuses. Eventually, it's going to really add up for you. I think the costumes are actually a really good buy. You know, eventually, this is long term in the game. If you're really focusing on trying to maximize the account, I think the first thing is always going to be the training room. And then after the training room, then just boosting the amount of stats you have on your characters is really important. So using those gems on the costumes is not a bad buy at all, because this game, going to pity on a character or guaranteeing you're actually going to pull a character could take a ton of gems, and there's really no way to guarantee just how much you're going to be using, especially if you're, you know, not spending and taking advantage of the extra 100 paid versions right here, so you can get a ton of mileage. So I think going for costumes is not bad at all. That's why I've been focusing on them. I really only go for costumes that have a collection bonus. I think you get a significant amount of stats from doing that. Next, going to be these things here. The only reason I bought this is just because I thought this looks badass. So here, if we go, and then also you get a 0.1 attack boost, but I think it looks here. Who do I got it on? I think I got it on Noxia. I think it looks really cool. I'm sure you've probably seen people have it. It's a very cool weapon. That's why I bought it. But now that they've added these equipment costumes, if you're looking for a competitive advantage, you can hide whichever weapon you're using. There's not many characters in the game where you actually are changing what weapon you use, especially in PvP, but it is a little slight boost that you can throw a little curveball at them having this on there, so they don't know for sure that you have the exclusive weapon. So now here in the Purple Coin shop, I think I like to check after every update to see if there's anything potentially I can get here. And if I actually wanted to play the story, there's a ton of stamina that they added with this currency here. This is a new thing. I'm going to use this level 40 hammer. That's a ton of currency. I'd rather just have the stamina than this. But the main thing you really want to target are these coffee grinders, especially if you're new to the game. The coffee grinders are going to boost the maximum amount of coffee you can hold. So that is priority number 1. And then just getting as much coffee as possible. That's going to be priority number 2. Also, legendary awakening stones are in here and gold is in here. But I just look for stamina and just try to spam as much stamina as possible. Added this, and right as of now, with either this last update or the one prior, they've added a ton of potential stamina you could purchase with these puzzle pieces here. So I definitely prioritize that. And then star pieces are really good to buy too. This option change stone I think is completely overpriced, so I'd skip that. And then eventually you're just not going to care about these like 2-star Evo stones are just really not that valuable in my opinion. I mean, by all means buy them because there's nothing else to do with this currency, but it really doesn't do much for you because when you're farming for your first unique 3-star, you're going to well over farm the natural 2-stars. So having these in here is okay, I guess, but it's not really necessary. Okay, and then the mileage shop here, I think the big priority to get every month is going to be this right here, this epic exclusive equipment box. It's 300 of the magic metals. You get 30 per pull, so you'll get 100 pull or you get 10 per pull, so you get 100 per 10 pull, and 300 will get you one random epic exclusive equipment every single month, and then 100 will get you a legendary exclusive equipment. I think they're both worth it. Depending on how much you're pulling, I think the absolute minimum you should be doing is the 300 every single month. Find a way to get 3 pulls on weapons every single month to make sure you get this random one, because this is by far your best way of getting an exclusive weapon. And if you don't have many of them, getting a duplicate is going to be incredibly rare for you. So prioritizing this is huge. And then when it comes to just mileaging things in general, if you're wondering what you should mileage, absolutely mileage the weapon. The weapon needs to be mileage versus the hero. The hero is something you pull for. If you're going to spend gems going for a hero, absolutely go for the hero and then mileage the weapon. That's by far the best way to spend this currency here, because the weapon is significantly more rare than the hero. I think this epic exclusive equipment box for 900, I really don't think that's worth it for 99% of people. If you're really going ham, by all means, but I don't think it's worth it. I think the max limit breaking thing here for 1500 is also incredibly not worth it. But I do think, I think this is by far the best way to get option change stones as well. I always buy the option change stones here. Let me know in the comments below if you agree with that or not. But I think this is, any other way to get option change stones, it just seems crazy expensive to me. So that's why I always buy them here. I have been getting these these legend exclusive box ones because I want to limit break them, because I think it's actually potentially reasonable to get to that point. When you combine this with the towers and stuff, you can probably limit break a few of them. So I've been going for that, but I don't think that's for everyone. I think the main thing that everyone should be prioritizing is this box here. Okay, and then these battle medals. I essentially saved them. They've given so many new ways to actually get these currencies, so I'm kind of hoping that there's something new coming through to the shop. I was debating on, I definitely bought Mad Panda brooch and Minotaur's necklace. They ended up buffing this recently, so I think this is worth buying for sure. It definitely takes a good roll to get it. I was thinking about getting the Mad Panda minigun and also the carrier, but I think that's pretty niche. I was thinking just for raids, that's super late game, not worth it. I ended up buying these 4 costumes because you get the 5% attack boost and the collection bonus like I was talking about earlier. So that's why I bought these 4 here. I think these 2 skins are just cool, but they're super expensive. So I might end up getting them. I have both these characters, so I might consider it, but I can totally understand people not wanting to do that. I think this is just a big flex if you actually get these guys. So it's just kind of up to you. But I think the important things are going to be Minotaur's necklace, Mad Panda brooch, and then these 4 equipments here to get that 0.5% attack boost. I think those are and then also the shield is decent, but I think there's better shields out there. Okay, and then so the mirror shard here, the only things I really buy, I think the weekly limit for these 2, absolutely totally worth it. It's I want to say it's 25 or 30 of these mirror shop currencies every single week, and you can get 5 of them. This is by far the best way to get these level 25 hammers. So I snap buy all those out, and then I snap buy all the gold too. I definitely think it's worth it every single week. And then couple things I never buy is going to be the option change stones, and I think it's very questionable to actually purchase one of these accessories here. I think maybe the martyr mirror necklace, if you want that necklace, that's really the only place to get it. But these other ones, the riches, ring, all this stuff, this is actually something that can drop from the mirror shop of the respective element type. So you can eventually just farm it there and get it for quote unquote free there, but it's a relatively low drop rate. If you're really farming it, you will see them pop up, but they are pretty rare. But the big one that I would actually spend this currency on if I'm going to buy one is this Captain Mirror Shield. I think this is 100% worth buying. I ended up completely limit breaking mine because, Future Princess is such a good character, and you're getting extra stat boosts here that are totally worth it. So it just takes a really lucky roll to actually nail your type here. Definitely think buying the shield is worth it because you can't get that random drop. Whereas eventually, if you just keep farming, you will get lucky enough to get one of these things in the mirror, actually doing the mirror rift yourself. So that's why I prioritize this, and I buy these 2 every single week because it's just really good value. and then never buy this option change stone. See, as you're seeing here, it's like in the other shop I'm going to talk about, it's 300 gems for an option change stone. It's 1,500 of these mirror shop currencies to get an option change stone. Totally not worth it. One of the most overvalued things in the game, in my opinion. Okay, and then so the bottle cap, I really focus on high grade and mid grade of these awakening stones. I think this is something that you really want to be farming every single day and making sure you do this, because this is such a good way to really, the awakening stone grind is so long that you really want to be prioritizing this. And I try to prioritize the high grade and mid grade of each respective element. And then after that, you definitely want the hero crystals, definitely want the legendary awakening stone. And then after that, I'd probably go, you can target whatever low grades you need. I'm kind of at the point where I just have a ton of low grades, whereas I'm like super tapped on high and mid. But definitely don't get the hammers here. I think this is really bad value. I think everything else is up for grabs. The high grade dream stones and mid grade dream stones are very expensive, so questionable. But the legendary awakening stone, no brainer. Hero crystals are still very good, even though that's by far the most expensive thing here. But the main priority is going to be these high and mid grade awakening stones. And then lastly, this is something that happens every day. It changes when you max out the level 5 shop. To see, this is what I'm talking about, where you get an option change stone for 300, totally not worth it. There's a lot of stuff here. I think these mid-grade HP stones, totally worth it. I just buy these out. Almost anything except the dream stones when it comes to this currency here is totally worth it, in my opinion. The dream stones are super overpriced. They're like 400,000 or like 600,000 or something like that. So I don't buy those, but I do buy almost everything else in the shop. The thing that you really want to see is going to be the 4 legendary awakening stones for like 300 to 400 gems. And you could buy it multiple times. I just buy that out if I have the gems for it, because I think that's super worth to buy. But that's all the things that I make sure to buy every single time here in Guardian Tales. Oh, and then just to swing by this package here, I think a lot of these deals are just pretty trash. If you're going to get one, this is a good one here, this 100 gem thing. Also, the main thing I just end up spending my currency on, or a real life currency on, is going to be these stamina. It's because if I whale out on this game, like I already have the character and whatever, there's really not any way for me to get the character advanced in any reasonable amount. Because this right here, this is only 200 hero crystals, 500 stamina right here. That's a horrible deal. $50. I mean, that would be $150 to take a character all the way up after they're already fully evolution stoned. And they don't even have the awakening stones. It's like there's really no way to reasonably, if you're trying to whale, I mean, you got to really whale. So I think this game is all about patience and really grinding over the long term, even if you're a low spender or a high spender. Because I think the main benefit you get from being a whale is having enough gems to actually take shots at pulling characters. Because there's really no way to, unless you're going absurd whale, to expedite the process of fully maxing that character on the spot, unless you're buying all the awakening things, buying all the hero crystals. So I just buy the stamina and use that and just farm the character slowly. And they come through. I mean, I've been playing since almost launch here on Global and NA2, so it's definitely a long grind. And I've definitely spent a decent amount, but those are the things that I focus on in the shop, because unless I'm thinking like hundreds of dollars per character, it's just not going to happen. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys think about the shop here. If you have any questions, let me know. And with that, guys, I am out. Peace.